Hey Tophees. Today's guest is Hari. He's very disciplined for his age and meticulously checks all of his spending. We're focused primarily on increasing his income and explore options to invest in his 401k and opening a Roth IRA. Please subscribe and share with others to help the channel grow. I'm Topher and this is Financial Fit.
Hi, my name is Hari Bhaskar. I'm 24 years old. I live in Manhattan, New York City. My annual income, I would say approximately right now is less than $10,000. And my savings are like it's not a lot. So I don't have like an exact number for it, but it's definitely in three digits. So yeah.
Right, gotcha. All right, awesome. Yeah, so I looked at your bank statement. So right now, is all your money just in your uh checking account and you just have a debit card, or do you have other accounts as well?
No, I have a credit card as well. Like since the turnaround time was like pretty quick, I wasn't able to get my credit card statements in order. But I haven't had a credit card for too long. I've had it for like 3 months right now. Um and credit card, I'm personally someone who I try and not use it a lot. And even if I do use it, I try and pay off the debts as soon as possible. But then what I realized was uh, usually when you like tip at restaurants and stuff like that, the amounts keep adding up. So what I realized was there's no point in paying it like as soon as I do the payment because you can only do three payments in a day as well. So now I'm like, I'll use a credit card for 1 week, then pay it on a Monday, and then not use it for another week because it got really messed up that way. Like I thought my system wasn't getting updated, and then I realized even though I thought I was paying my debts off like on time, I still had like $155 which I had to pay. I mean, I paid it off, but like I was really running out of money, and like for the first time in 6 months, I had to borrow money from home for my personal expenses.
Interesting you mentioned that. No, it's good. So for your credit card, you just had it for a few months. Um, is it set up so that you can pay it off automatically each month?
Basically, why I took a credit card was so when I used to live in the financial district, and then I moved to Harlem like uh, around almost 4 months ago. And I remember like struggling to search, like not struggling to search for an apartment, but more like struggling to secure it because a lot of the places they were asking for tax returns and credit score. Credit score was something I didn't have because obviously I didn't have a credit card.
Right.
So and the thing is, I wasn't filing taxes because I was in school, so I wasn't earning any income per se. Uh, so and eventually, I got the apartment through my guarantor. But I'm like, I don't want that situation to happen again, where I don't have a credit score, which is the main reason why I took a credit card. And I feel it's such a messed up situation that in order to like secure an apartment for like rent as well, you need to have a credit score. I feel that's pathetic. So, I mean, tax returns is still fine, but like credit score, I mean, I don't even want to use a credit card because I know, you're gonna accrue like debts and stuff in the
Right,
end.
right.
So, and yeah, I was sort of, it wasn't out of like choice. I would say it was more by force that I had to take it.
Gotcha. Okay. No, it's good you open one up and you're on top of it. Hopefully, there's no late fees being charged to you by not paying them off. But definitely, your comment about sometimes the your expenses don't come up as quickly on your statement. It's because usually the credit card company, it's like pending for like a day or so, and then it might process. And so if you have it automatic each month, then that's good. If you want to check it each month, that's even better to make sure you don't have any fraud or expenses that you didn't call for.
No,
Because
totally, yeah.
the restaurant tip thing is also important because sometimes you might go to a restaurant and maybe it's $25 and you tip, I don't know, like $5, whatever it is. There's been scams in the past where I'm not saying the waiter does this, but someone might make your $5 or $5 tip to like a $50 tip, and it's adding a zero at the end of it, and no one checks their credit card statement, so then they're charged $50 in tip. So yeah, so just be sure pay it off automatically, but also check your credit card if you do use it. But I think credit score is mainly to understand like the risk you hold as a tenant, but also credit score is important for the future if you want to get a loan on something. Like maybe you want to buy a car or a house in the future, and you need to take a loan out for that. Then it's important to have a credit score. So it's good you have it started now. I think
Yeah, like
yeah.
yeah, no, I was just about to say, luckily, like right now, my credit score is over 700, so I just want to
Okay,
maintain.
awesome. Okay, no, that's good to hear. Yeah, no, definitely pay off that credit card. Don't pay any late fees. Interest on a credit card is the highest ever, so just avoid all debt. And it's good that you're not living beyond your means by using the credit card to pay for stuff right now and then hope you deal with it later. It's good you're not
Yeah,
dealing with that. So no,
yeah.
that's great to see.
I,
Okay.
I feel the one advantage that I have with the credit card right now is like with the points that I'm accruing, I'm using that for investments. So I sort of like got around 12,000 points, which I saved over like 2 months, and then I put that into my. So the same guy from the demo reel company, he introduced me to this app called Acorns. So I've started investing in that as well. I'm doing the low risk one right now, which is like over 5 years, so I can, like I can take the money out after like 5 years basically. So I'm trying
Gotcha,
to
gotcha.
use the I'm trying to use the credit card points where I can, like, sort of like get the cash, like get the like, redeem the points and then put it into the.
Okay, no, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad you're starting to invest. Acorns is a good intro platform. The main thing for this is just don't try to spend more to get more points to invest. I have there's a lot of people that do that. Oh, look how much I saved. Guys, the more I spend, the more I save. I'm like, I don't know. That's not way the way to go. So I'm glad, Hari, that you're keeping track on that. You're not trying to overspend to get more points. And if you have more money, you can also just invest in Acorns or other platforms as well. So that's good. That's good to see. Okay. Um,
Like also, like, since I'm joining the union for theater also right now, I believe they have a scheme for 401k as well. So that's also something that I'm planning to get myself involved in.
awesome. Okay, so the 401k, is that with the agency or is it with you have a company that
So it'd be with the union, basically, the actors' equity.
okay. Yeah, definitely start working on that. Do you know high level the benefits or the perks with it in terms of like do they match any percentage or do they you know
The you mean the 401k?
yeah.
I'm not really sure about that. I mean, my friend just told me, like, the basic rule where, like, you put in $1 and they'll put in like $1. So like they'll match how much ever you're putting into your sort of
Okay.
account. One of the reasons why I'm joining equity is because you're guaranteed more payment as well. You're guaranteed like a stable payment, basically, unlike non-union stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. And that sounds good. Yeah, I think as you dive more into the 401k, most 401ks the match is only up to a certain percentage. So it might be only 3% or 5%. So once you hit that threshold, the rest is not matched, or maybe it's matched less. So just figure out how much is matched because most 401ks, it's uh, a lot of companies are make money off of it. So for example, if it's through like Fidelity or some Vanguard, whatever Charles Schwab 401k, uh, the company gets a cut, and the brokerage also gets a cut. So sometimes the options in a 401k is not the best. It could be good, but for most part, I see them, and a lot of them have really high fees. But you get the matching, and you think it's a good deal. So once you hit the matching threshold, any extra money you have, I would recommend opening what's called a IRA. It stands for Individual Retirement Account, and you could put, I believe it's 6,500 each year, and it's also tax deferred as well. As you get to that level, then we'll talk more about traditional versus Roth. But basically, with the IRA, you can pick any brokerage you want, and also pick whatever investments you want. It's usually unlimited options. So you can buy stocks, you can buy index funds, there's a lot of different options versus 401k. Usually it's a set of maybe 10 or 20 funds or you know mutual funds to invest in. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely
So Roth IRA is better than 401k basically.
It there's different pros and cons. It'll take a while to explain all the different differences, but essentially, saving number one, save, which you're starting working on, and then two, figure out the matching, and if it's matching up to maybe 3% or 5% of your income, after that, then put the rest into an IRA. I recommend either Fidelity or Vanguard. They both have very low fees, and I can send you some very simple index funds you can invest in, and it'll get you started on that. Okay, so that's next for you. Okay, now let's look into the docs you sent me for February, March, and April. So this is your debit card statement. So your essentially your checking account. So I see, overall, it looks like you're living in your means. You have you go out a little bit for food. You take the metro to go around New York. It's very common. I've been to New York maybe 4 or 5 times, so I definitely that's the way to go. Um, One thing I want to ask you about. So I do see, good amounts of, uh, it means like 1,000, 2,000, like once a month you get like a, a deposit from I don't know, maybe it looks like it's something India. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's basically the money which my so 2000 is like the money that I get for my rent from my parents.
Okay. Okay, so your parents are helping you a little bit for now. Okay.
So rent is like my parents are helping me out.
Okay.
Uh, Personal expenses is like myself, like my phone bill, my grocery bill, my like subway, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Um, what's your kind of arrangement with your parents on this? Is it they're gonna help you with rent indefinitely, or they're gonna give you like a year of trying this out? Like, what's kind of
I mean, we really haven't talked about it just yet. Like, I mean, at least my sort of goal is like I want to be financially independent as
right?
soon as possible. So like right now, like my first step would be because that also involves like getting better acting gigs as well. But not just that, it's also since I'm an overseas citizen, like I'm not an American citizen. Because of that, since I'm on the extension of my student visa right now, I'm only legally allowed to do like certain kinds of jobs, like and since I graduated from an acting program, that means I can only do like acting related jobs. Like I can only do performance oriented kind of stuff. I can't work like as a cashier or like a grocery store or like a barista at like a coffee shop or like a receptionist at like a dog care or something like that. I'm not allowed to do those kinds of stuff. I can only do like performance oriented stuff like maybe tour guide or I don't know like a circus or something like that. So right now, like I mean, joining the union would naturally mean you have the opportunity to get better, not just better paying stuff, but also just in terms of standard as well, getting better acting related stuff. And the thing about the union is that if you're part of the one of the unions for at least a year, then you can be a part of the other union. So my ultimate goal is like right now I'm joining the theater union, and hopefully like next year around this time I would be eligible to join the screen union, SAG after basically.
Okay, so you can
So
each union's for different aspects of entertainment. So there's acting, there's uh writing. So once you join those different unions, you can do different jobs in each one.
yeah, I mean, like, so right now the thing is, I'm also applying for my artist visa. It's called the O1 visa.
Mhm.
So, even in that, like, since my field is acting related, I can still only do acting related stuff only. I'm still not legally allowed to work at like restaurants and all that kind of stuff. Unless like basically like yeah, if there's a record of like them having you sign like some federal forms like an I-9 or like a W-4 or something like that, it means it's there on the records, so legally you're not allowed to do it. So yeah, I ideally like I only want to do like acting related stuff, but photography is like something which is also in my field, which is why I was like, oh okay, photography is something I can definitely try. That and yeah, like ultimately, like I do want to find like a tour guide is also something that I'm considering. I still haven't given too much of thought into it because it's uh, t- like being a tour guide is pretty well paying. To be honest, like
Definitely, yeah.
there are a lot of places which pay like uh for like a 2 hour tour, they might pay you like 50 bucks or something, 50 to 75 bucks, like a 2 3 hour tour. So, like, it's something that I am considering, but I would say my goal right now is like to focus on acting completely, which is one of the reasons why, I mean, which is the main reason why I came here as well. So, yeah, I want to dedicate my entire energy towards that. But photography is like something which is sort of plays into this, and the thing is that yeah, photography is something which plays into this in terms of like it would help me in my film and TV acting as well, just understanding lights and all that kind of stuff. So, and photography is a very lucrative business as well. Like in
Definitely.
terms of like I feel it's one business which would never really go out of fashion, even in times of like recession and stuff. That in fact is one time where actors especially they would use that time to like sort of build up their headshots,
Right.
like would need like wedding photos and just photos in general for like their LinkedIn or Facebook or like Instagram and all that kind of stuff, like even for dating apps. So I feel photography is a very sort of a lucrative kind of a business, which is why that's as of now like I'm auditioning, but I'm not booking too many acting jobs at this point. So I'm like, okay, I can use that time to do photography. And one of the reasons why I got into photography was also because I remember like I was doing a gig in Florida like last month, and when I came back, I was like, oh, I have a lot of free time. Let me go out and meet friends. But it was for the first time ever, I think, like especially earning my own money. Like I was hanging out with friends consistently for up to like almost 2 to 3 weeks. I was going out like every night for dinner, and I didn't realize how expensive it is to dine out in New York City. And my debit card was like in 2 digits, and then I came across this idea, hey, why not use my credit card? I have like $1,500 on that, might as well just use that. But then I realized, oh shit, that's not really a good idea because a photography is not picking up like I thought it would, and I'm not booking any acting gigs, and then I would struggle later on to pay off my credit card debt. So I was like, that's a bad idea. Like, you know what? Fine, I'll just take money from home right now because that I had that $155 bill on my credit card to settle as well. So out of that 1,500, I use like 155 to like sort of settle my credit card debt. At least right now at this moment, I still have like I need to pay off like around $200 on my credit card because I use it this week, so I need to pay that off. I mean, we went out for like a brunch with my friends, and my friends paid out like maybe it was like a $140 bill or something, and my friends like paid 70 of it, so that was fine. But it still reflects on my credit card, so I just need to settle like a $200 sort of debt this week, and I'm expecting some payments from my like my gigs and stuff. So
Okay, that's
hopefully,
good to
I
hear.
feel like at the end of the month I can still maintain like a 4 digit sort of a sum in my bank account, and that's one of my goals as well, which is like every month I want to have at least like a 4 digit balance in my
Uh, No, that's really good to hear. Now, I'm glad you're tracking your credit card. You didn't have any late fees or like interest, right, for your credit card? You always pay it off?
So right now it's like sort of showing on my app like a cash purchase APR or something at 29.99%. I'm not really sure about that.
That says interest, but you don't have any like you're not like say your balance is $1,000. There's an option to pay the minimum, which might be like $40 or $50, but you're not paying just a minimum. You're paying the whole balance off, right?
I pay out the whole thing. Yeah, I don't go
Yeah,
for the
perfect,
minimum
perfect.
balance thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, no, that's great to hear. And then second thing, so like I was same in your boat. When I was out of college, my parents helped a little bit with rent. Throughout college. I get that. I'm just curious if your parents are you know gifting or loaning you the money. It sounds like it's more gifting, right? They're not expecting to pay back anytime soon.
They're not expecting me to pay back. Ideally, I would want to like at least on my end, just to sort of just to clear out my conscience. Basically, like I'd like to like sort of pay back. Uh, you know, like I mean, my dad really doesn't talk about it. My mom sometimes like she puts like these she might be joking, I don't know, but like she puts in like these sort of subtle hints, like, "Oh, we might have to like support you forever," and that's like it's not even financial; it's just like mental health and all that kind of stuff, which
Right,
I
right.
don't really want to get into. But like, uh, yeah, at least to sort of like clear out my conscience, I would definitely like to like uh pay back as much as I can. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely hurry. I think your head's in a really good spot. I think in terms of your goal, like it sounds like your dream life, your what I call your vivid vision, which is your goals in your life, your dreams, is to act. I think one thing to just kind of consider is, if say you get gig consistently, and at some point you might increase your lifestyle. Maybe you go out more, rent's more expensive. At some point, it sounds like you're not gonna, ask your family to support, for the rent. And then at that point, maybe you do really, really well, and you can just go crazy and buy what you want. But maybe realistically, you might be in a spot where you can pay off the rent, you save a little bit, but you don't have the most luxury apartment, the most luxury house. But it sounds like you're okay with that as long as you get to act. Is that accurate or?
Yeah, I'm not a very I would say I'm a very minimalist kind of a person. I'm not too sort of luxurious in a way. Like even if you look at my apartment right now, I have very basic kind of stuff. For
I'm the
so
same.
long, in
Yeah.
fact, yeah, for so long I didn't even have like a TV. Like when I was living in my apartment in downtown, it was a studio apartment. So honestly, I didn't even really have space for a TV. The only reason why I bought a TV right now was because I had like this plain wall, and I'm like, it just looks plain, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll buy a TV. And even then, I didn't buy like the most luxurious TV as well. I just bought it off of Facebook Marketplace for like $50, and
Right.
uh, and I bought like a Roku for like $10 and just hooked it up. In fact, it cost me more to like mount the TV on the wall rather than buying all.
Mounts are expensive. Yeah. The
Yeah,
TV mounts
so
are
like,
expensive. Yeah.
sorry, come again?
Oh, the TV mounts are expensive. It's like
Yeah, TV
80
mount.
bucks for that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like mounting it along with the equipment cost me like $130. But like the TV and Roku altogether was like just like 60. And I'm from a theater background as well. So I'm someone who for me like less is more. So like I try and make the most of what I have. And sometimes like my parents are also like, why are you so cheap? Like, we have money, make use of it. Why are you living in like such poverty sort of a thing? Like as a kid also I was someone who was always constantly called like spoiled brat, spoiled brat, spoiled brat, rich kid, rich kid. So that affected me a lot as well. So I'm like, okay, I want to live within my means. So I don't want to like like go all extravagant and stuff as well. Like and yeah, I'm not someone who I mean, of course I would love to have like a pair of Nike shoes or something later on, or wear like Louis Vuitton and stuff like that. But even then I don't buy too many clothes as well. Most of the clothes that I have, I've been using it for like the last 5 or 6 years. The only I've been in the United States for like 2.5 years right now, and till now I've only bought like two pieces of it's like like one t-shirt and one shirt. Like the t-shirt was like some online ambassador kind of a thing, and the
Right.
shirt was like from Old Navy because I was like, oh, I have some extra cash, and like one of my shirts was like too big, so I was like, I want to get a new shirt, and I had to buy like like some 4 or 5 pairs of shorts like last year because all my shorts were becoming big. So I don't really, and even some of my clothes are like torn. I'm like, fine, I'll still wear it. I have no problem. So I'm not someone who's like, oh, I've like after a year, I'm like, I don't like this, and then I go to like, I don't know, like H&M or like Banana Republic and buy something. I've never been to Banana Republic as well,
Yes.
so
Okay.
I've never been to like Uniqlo or like any of those other stores. I don't go to like, even as a kid, my mom was always very hesitant from me buying jerseys from like Adidas or like Nike, any of those, the authentic sports jerseys, like any of the soccer jerseys or something like that. My friend would have all these fancy Arsenal, Barcelona, Real Madrid kind of jerseys, and my mom would be like, "No, you don't need to buy any of those fancy jerseys. I would get like some cheap ass T-shirt like this one. I've been using it for like the last, I want to say like 7 years right now. Yeah, I've been having this since like 2016.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's like the logo's faded and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not really too much into that vanity and all that kind of stuff. I would be like, I want to use that money for more important kind of stuff. So most of my expenses are like acting related as well. Even there, I try to save. I'm like, a lot of money goes into like say headshots or like I don't even do like too many classes and stuff as well. So even if you deduce like my bank statements, if you like take the pie chart, you would see most of the expenses are like towards food and groceries.
Right.
Shopping is like barely anything.
Yeah, no,
So
I took a look. Yeah, you don't you're mainly using it for the subway. You
yeah.
have some stuff. I'm assuming it's groceries and then for acting gigs. But I'm not seeing these crazy like you go out Friday night and you buy rounds of shots for everybody for like $100. Like I don't stuff like
That's
that.
the
So
other
that's
thing. I don't really, even if I go to the bar, I'm like one drink and that's it. I'm not someone who buys like, I don't want to, like, I have friends around me, like friends who study with me in school who are like, oh, I'm poor. I don't have any money. Wah. And then like they always have like $200 to spare at a bar.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm so yeah. I really like everything you just shared right now. It's something a lot of people don't think about, and I'm really glad you came on the show, sharing your experience and your mindset because you're only 24, but there's people 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta keep up with the Joneses. I gotta buy this. I gotta, you know, feel a certain way." And I just hope that as as your acting career grows and your income increases, you still have that mindset where you want to save, you want to maybe give back to your parents, or just not asking for support, and you're fully independent. So great to hear hear about all of that.
Yeah, because also one of my goals is like, see, ideally, I want to be able to start a family once I'm in my 30s and stuff.
Right.
Uh, so I feel like I don't know who said this, but like, there's this channel on YouTube called I think it's Carmichael or something like that. I forgot the guy's name. He has a lot of like these like a lot of famous personalities. Like he compiles all their videos, like life lessons, basically. I think Evan Carmichael or something like that. So one of the times that I saw it was something financial related, and I've listened to audiobooks like Rich Dad Poor Dad and all that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Oh,
I
awesome.
love that.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that book. That's where I got one of my first financial lessons, which was like, I also feel like a lot of people they sort of waste their 20s, like going to the bar, drinking, and all that kind of stuff, and going after vanity. But I feel like, and sometimes people like they spend exorbitantly to go on a vacation as well. I'm like, in these last 2.5 years, like the only times, the one time I went for a vacation, like sort of spending out of my pocket was like I went to Philadelphia during my break while I was in school, and even then it was just like for a day. Like thankfully the hotel room was like $100, so I went there. Overall, the trip was like around $200. But the two times that I traveled after that, both of them were to Florida, and both of them were like all expenses covered. Like my travel was covered, my accommodation was covered. Rest of the things, like if I went to a museum or something, then I would like I would spend money. But even then, the museums are like what, 10, $15. So like yeah, and then like sometimes I would go out to like eat food and stuff. But a lot of the times, since I was staying in people's houses, I was able to buy groceries and just cook at their houses as well. So I realized like cooking your own food also helps you save a lot of money.
Definitely.
I didn't want to like go out for meals like 3 times a day. Like also because I'm health conscious, so I try and not eat too much from outside as well. Uh, but uh, but yeah, like both of those vacations were like paid for. So what I've noticed is that people in my age range, like 20s, like in the 20s, they're like, oh, I want to take a break, I want to travel, I want to go for vacation. But I'm like, 20s is like that one decade where you have like a lot of energy and you can
Definitely.
use that energy for your work as well. Once you get into your 30s, 40s, you might be like, oh God, I need to work more because I need money. And then, but your body just doesn't allow you to. So at least in your 20s, like you're still young, your body is like pretty efficient as well. So make the best use of it. Because like one of my goals is like, sort of early retirement and then like retire in the sense that acting is one I feel one field where you can't really retire from per se, but like at least I can retire from the sense that I'm not doing gigs for money. I'm doing gigs because for the heck of it, like for the because I love it, I enjoy it. I've done a lot of gigs over the last 1 year where I've been just doing it for the sake of money. I haven't really enjoyed it per se. But ideally, once I'm in my 30s, like I want to be able to like have sort of enough money where I don't need to like I'm not doing it for I'm not doing a gig just for the sake of money because I want to be able to have enough money for my kids as well, for my kids, for my wife. Uh I want us to be able to like, not be like if my kids want something, I won't be like, oh, I can't get you that because I don't have money. That's the worst excuse ever. And I read a beautiful quote on YouTube, which was like, pass down inheritances and wealth to the next generation, not trauma and pain. So
That's
I
very
don't want to
wise.
do that to my kids. I want my kids to have like the best life. Like I mean, obviously not pamper them too much as well, where it
It's
becomes a whole
comfortable.
cycle where probably they'll also appear on this show and then be like, I need help with my money. I don't want that to happen, but like at the same time, I don't want them to live like in a sense of poverty and then sort of regret their childhood and be like, I wish I had better parents, not like a poor dad like him. So I don't want to end up in debt once I'm in my 30s and my 40s. I want to sort of secure it because I was also, like I said, I'm watching this show called Money Explained on Netflix, and I saw an episode where it was talking about retirement accounts and stuff, and it's just that right now it's like it's not even looking possible for like millennials, like people born post 90s, like to even retire because things are becoming so expensive. Inflation and even like the wages are just not sort of balancing out with
Definitely.
inflation, and it's like you're running in this cycle basically. And also like if you don't have the mental capacity of what you were talking about, like you want to like get all that vanity and stuff like that, like keeping up with this
Joneses, yeah.
imaginary kind of a line, imaginary kind of a notion, that also sort of plays into it. So that's why I want to sort of live minimalist. I want to live well within my means. I want to live too extravagantly and then struggle later on because honestly, no one gives a shit as to how you live. So
No,
uh,
definitely.
I think like I just want to enjoy like the basic things, like have someone by my side, have like I have like really good friends as well. We love going to like a deli and then getting like a $6 sandwich. That's sometimes like way better than going to like this extravagant restaurant and having like a $100 dinner.
Yeah,
Sometimes that
no,
just
definitely I
doesn't
feel you
satisfy.
on that.
Yeah, you get disappointed by like $150, like a $40 pasta or something. I can get like a way better jerk chicken and rice for like $6 at like my local bodega or like by the roadside or something, or like a chicken over rice or something.
Yeah, no, definitely. No. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's definitely great to hear. It sounds like you have some strong background on everything. One thing I want to dive into a little bit is the idea of like early retirement. And I think you kind of mentioned like a lot of people, especially young folks, think they can never get there. The way I like to think about it is to kind of simplify it, and it goes back to your expenses. So, for example, say your rent is 1,000 to 2,000, and say it might say it fluctuates based on where you live, And say you live in New York, where you can maybe you live 40 minutes from downtown or Manhattan, where like most of the filming happens. You take the metro, you're there for the whole day, you go back home. Maybe you get bigger where they give you a free hotel, maybe, and then you can live farther away. So maybe your rent is $2,000 each month, and then your food, you like cooking. You don't spend a lot of alcohol, so that's good. So maybe for yourself, it'd be maybe 500 a month, and then you have all your other things that might come up. You need to have a little savings, so it could be something where your expenses are quite low, maybe 4,000 a month. And so when you annualize it, 4,000 times 12 months, that's about $50,000. Then you work backwards where how can you have consistent $50,000 and not quite like you said, you're not trying to retire and do nothing, but you're doing gigs that you actually want to do and not just to make some money. So when you work backwards that way, you might have some investments. So you start doing acorns, so it's basically the stock market, and then you want to diversify in other things. Maybe you have your photography business where maybe you don't do it the whole entire year, but you do maybe two or three uh, um, gigs that pay a lot of money. Maybe you go into photography for weddings or for graduation, and you just do it for like that season, and you make like 10, 20 grand just by doing that. And in acting, all you need left is 30 grand on acting to, live your life. And of course, you want to save a little bit. So definitely when you work backwards that way, hopefully that makes sense, kind of simplifying it is
Yeah.
doing those two things. And most people that are, you know, retired early, wealthy, what we're going to call it, they have a business. So, like for you, photography, maybe you can scale it up where you uh, do good marketing and you get too many gigs where you hire out the gigs to other people. So, you're not actually the one doing the work. Uh, maybe a photography shoot, say it's $1,000, and you're too busy. You tell your friend, hey, I'll give this gig to you. I'll take 10-20% off the top, and then he gets 800 for doing a gig. And that's what you could do too if you have a bigger business. And that's how most businesses work. They just have other people that get paid and you manage them. And then the last item is real estate, and maybe that's something we talk about when not I'm not saying way in the future, but just after you kind of stabilize on the other items on your plate is real estate. If you buy something, maybe not in New York, like it's very expensive. I live in LA, and it's very expensive. I invest out of state. Maybe you buy something out of state, get some rental income, and as that property appreciates and the rents go up from inflation, your New York rent might also go up, but then it makes sense. Your New York rent goes up, your rental property goes up, and then it kind of balances out. So
Exactly. Yeah.
if you kind of think of it that way, it's not too crazy if you're keeping your expenses low, which it sounds like you're doing, and it could be you take to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if you do all these things in the next 6 to 7 years and you're 30 and you have maybe a couple rental properties, you have a photography business or something that makes some money that's consistent, and then acting, all you need is like 30K from that each year, and you're basically retired because everyone has their own retirement definition. For yours, it sounds like as long as you can act and do some cool gigs, you're cool with that, right? You get paid, great. Don't get paid as much, okay, but you still have other income sources, and then you just living your life, and that's what it sounds like you're on a path for. So that's really great to hear. Yeah, so early retirement, we can talk more about this later on, but definitely because your expenses are so low and you're not trying to flex on people, what are we gonna call it, right? I
Yeah.
don't wear chains. I don't wear, same as you. You don't spend all this extra stuff. Then you can really do that because a lot of people get caught up by chasing the higher job, so they can buy nicer cars, nicer homes, the newest iPhone every year, like stuff like that. But it sounds like for you, you're on the right path on saving, investing well, and you already prioritize what to you matters to you. So, no, that's super great to hear. So let's kind of wrap it up. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send you uh, a spreadsheet. I call it the 15 levels to financial freedom. It's a lot of F's in there, but basically, there's it's kind of like a roadmap of how to become financially free. And I use this the past decade for myself and for my friends. The last few years I taught other people, and then this past year I gotten more and more involved with helping people one on one using this framework. And I make tweaks here and there. That's why it's a Google spreadsheet. I can make changes on the fly based on feedback. But right now, um, I think level one I call it vivid vision. Basically, it's having a very, very colorful, descriptive life that you want. And it sounds like for you, you kind of already have it, where you just want to act, do fun acting gigs, and then not worry about other expenses and stuff like that. So, you can take a look at that, maybe write it down, and stay clear with your goals. The second level is I call it financial personal finance inventory, inventory of all your accounts. So right now it's good that you don't have like 20 credit cards. You just have one credit card, one checking account, and then one debit card with that checking account. The only thing, and then you have your Acorns account, and then you're opening up your 401k. So you have very minimal accounts, which I like because it's simple. You don't want to have 15 credit cards and bank accounts. So the only thing I can think you can change or not change but add is a savings account down the road, just so that your checking account hopefully only keeps maybe 3 to 5 thousand in there, and then your savings, that's more your emergency fund. So if something happens on the road where I don't know, you have a medical expense, you get an accident, or maybe one day you buy a car and that's totaled, or something comes up where you need like 5,000, 10,000 right now and you don't have it, the savings account would be your emergency fund for those unexpected events. And that's part of the levels as well. The last homework would be uh your creating a budget. Right now I know it's tough because your income fluctuates, but I think hopefully later this year you can create one where it's very stable, and not very stable, but you have like consistent gigs and you're seeing the end goal, which is early retirement. So if you can get your gigs consistent, 20 to 30 thousand each year, and then you can maybe do your photography business or some kind of business, getting 10 to 20 thousand each year, and then you start investing into a rental property, maybe in like 3 years, maybe sooner. Who knows? Maybe you have you start saving up and then you do it sooner. Then you get to the last levels of financial freedom where you're basically just investing to what areas you know best, and you're giving back and you're living your best life. That's kind of how I would, kind of uh, see your progression. So I'll send you all of that. You can take a look, and then
I just had a doubt about the savings account thing. So would you like sort of suggest that I open like a savings account and have sort of like an automated payment kind of a system where every month like some amount goes from my checking account into the savings?
yeah, I would say once your income's a bit more stable and you have maybe, I would say maybe when you get like 5,000 or 4,000 in your uh into your checking account, then I would probably put maybe 2,000 into a savings account. It looks like, let me see, you're using Chase, so yeah, you can just open a Chase account, uh, savings account with probably the same logins you have right now for your checking account. Um, yeah, and
Because like
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just saying, like, because I kind of got the idea right now, like, I mean, I could probably start a savings account as soon as Monday and then be like every month, like, have like, say, just like start small, like, have like sort of $50 go into my account, like, sort of every.
Yeah, definitely. You can, yeah, I would say, um, yeah, you can open it. Just be careful and check the minimums in your checking and your savings account. So the way a lot of banks do it is, if you don't have a certain amount of money in the account, you gotta pay a fee. It's like $30 a month, which I don't want you to do. Okay.
Okay, got it, got it, got
There's
it.
different things you can have a minimum amount in the account. Another option is you can uh, put a recurring deposit into the account. Usually it's like $75 each month. So just
Okay.
figure out that first, and then open it if you can adhere to it. but I don't want you to open it and then realize, oh, I had to keep, $2,000 in here and I didn't do that, so now I'm paying $35 a month. I don't want you to do that. So right now, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but maybe later this year you can open a savings account, and that would be your emergency fund. So I would probably, at least for this year, I would say your goal would be, $2,000 to $3,000 in the emergency fund. And as your income increases and the expenses increase, then of course you increase that. But you don't want to keep too much in there because you also want to invest. So you're doing your 401k, you should open up your IRA, and we talk about that later on. But I think you're on the right track. Just increase your income, keep saving, and start investing. And before you know it, in 10 years, you have your dream life. I feel like I don't think it's too crazy for you, because you're not talking about having all these Rolexes. You're not talking about having all these cars or this mansion. And maybe down the road you get there. But first you're prioritizing your gigs, family, good food, and having a family, which does not involve mansions and jewelry and stuff like that. So, no, it was great. Harvey, it's great talking to you. I learned a
Eh,
lot about you and
Oh
had a
yeah,
lot of
yeah, no,
fun.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah, yeah. Thank you for the advice. Thank you so much, Christopher.
Yeah, and I'll send it to you after this, and we'll talk more. So yeah, thanks for coming on the show, and yeah, so great. I had a great conversation with Harry today. He's in good shape for a 24-year-old. First, work on levels 1 through 5 in my curriculum, the 15 levels to financial freedom. He'll work on creating a budget and being able to pay all minimal essentials, including rent, on his own. Next is to research the 401k that he has access to. Every company and every 401k is different. Each company has a different brokerage for the 401k and different assets you can invest in. Also, each company's 401k will have a different matching policy and waiting period. You might join a company but not be able to invest in your 401k for 3 to 6 months. I also want to become open and comfortable with opening an IRA, which stands for Individual Retirement Account. But most importantly, he needs to increase his income to be able to save and invest more. When he's waiting for acting gigs or has downtime, he should start booking clients for his photography business and tour guiding. Who knows? Maybe it will lead to more acting gigs or new connections. And this will help him build an emergency fund to protect him from unfortunate events, because life comes quick and you need to protect yourself. Hari is very disciplined for his age, and it's okay to use his credit card more. He needs to set up automatic payments to pay off his balance and not just the minimum payment, and live below his means, which means limited shopping and eating out. Overall, he's around level 3.5 and can easily become levels 8 to 11 this year if he puts some work in. If you think you or a friend will be a great guest on Financial Fit, click the link in my bio and let me know. Thanks for watching. I'm Topher, and you're watching Financial Fit.